Hi, everyone. My name is Jennifer Weissberg, and I'm from Albuquerque, New Mexico. And I'm here today because I lost my 18-year-old son, Cameron, to a heroin overdose in August of 2011. My son, Cameron, he was 18 at the time. He was a normal, everyday kid. He was a high school wrestler, much like all the stories that I've heard when I've been here talking to these awesome people here. My son's story is no different. It's a different face, a different state, a different name, but the same story. My son got addicted to prescription opiates, to Percocet, after a couple different sports-related injuries. And before I knew it, my high school honor student, varsity wrestler, was a heroin addict, shooting up heroin in his arm and robbing things from people he loved, stealing things to support his habit. This epidemic is killing people all across the country. And we, all of us, all of these names, all of these faces of all of these young people who have passed away, it's unacceptable. This is an epidemic of significant proportion. And if this was a disease, another disease, or such as the Ebola virus or the bird flu or anything like that, we'd be pumping millions of dollars into it to figure out how to prevent it, how to help those that are suffering from it, and how to provide proper treatment, and how to help those in recovery. And instead, people turn their backs. They look at us like, oh, well, I wonder what they did wrong. Well, I wonder, oh, they must have been bad parents, or, that wouldn't happen to me. And the fact of the matter is, it can happen to any one of us. I don't think any one of us ever thought that this would happen to us. We never expected to be in Washington talking about our child's death due to substance abuse. And the problem just keeps getting worse. And until we take a stand and until we demand change, we're just gonna continue to be ignored. And we can't let that happen. I was shocked when I looked at some of the statistics recently. 113 Americans die every single day of an overdose, of a drug overdose. That's almost 800 people a week. That's twice the amount of people that a 747 jumbo jet holds. And yet if a plane goes down, we spend millions looking for that plane, trying to find it, and then even more money trying to figure out why in the heck did that plane go down, and how do we prevent it from happening again? I don't understand why we're not doing that with this problem. We are losing the equivalent of 2 jumbo jets filled with people every single week, and no one seems to care. Everybody thinks we're, complaining, or that we're whining, or that we're trying to figure out a way to justify our child's death. And we just don't want anybody else to have to go through what we went through. That's the fact. So it's time that we demand change. Our young people's future depends on it. We need to demand that drugs like Zohydro be pulled off the market. And at a time when we are battling a problem of this significance, the last thing we need to do is roll out a stronger painkiller. I mean, give me a break. What the heck is the FDA thinking? The last thing we need is for another drug to end up on the streets that can become abused, that can become crushed up, snorted, injected, and ultimately end in someone's death. We need better treatment systems to hold insurance companies accountable for treating addiction as a disease and not a moral failure. When my son was seeking treatment, he was actually told by my insurance company that they were going to deny coverage because it had been too long since he has used heroin. It had been 5 days. He was detoxing at my house, detoxed, and then tried to get into treatment, and my insurance was going to deny him because he hadn't used in the last 5 days. They considered him cured. We need to demand that insurance stop considering detox as an effective form of treatment. People need long-term treatment in order for them to enter recovery. We stigmatize addiction. We have it in our minds who these people are. We think we know who they are. People think that they know what they look like. People always ask me, what can I do differently? I don't know what I could have done differently. Honestly, I honestly have no idea. People categorize our children as throwaways, as losers. They need to be locked up. They say, why can't they just quit? Well, of course they can't quit. This is a disease. It's a disease of the mind, and it's something that they can't just stop. It hit my family like a freight train from behind. We didn't see it coming, and there was nothing that we could do to stop it. My son did not have the goals and aspirations to be a drug addict, and he definitely didn't want to die that way. He passed away of a heroin overdose in his bed in my house on August 13, 2011. This past Friday, he would have turned 22. So when someone asks me what an opiate or a heroin addict looks like and who is most at risk, I tell them to look at the person next to them, their neighbor, the checker at the grocery store, their lawyer, their banker, I tell them, look in the mirror. There is no category anymore, no specific social class. Addiction can happen to any one of us, and it is up to each one of us to make a difference and to do something about it. It's time for Washington to listen. We are fed up, and we are a force to be reckoned with. Thank you.